Let's go.
Good evening. It's Monday, which means it's time for Enterprise at 8. This is Live Long and Podcast Star Trek Enterprise rewatch series. It's been about 2 years since we started.
20 years?
No, not 20, only 2, Trip. Jeez. Oh. Anyway, since we started this rewatch series, and we're now at the end of the series. December 6th actually was the first episode we ever aired of this rewatch series.
December 6th in 2021?
Yes.
Okay.
There you go. And that was with Broken Bow parts 1 and 2. And we're now at the series finale, which is These Are the Voyages. I'm Jody Simpson. Along with me is my co-host and the man who wonders how Archer could have survived without a fish tank, Woodward.
Yes, how could that happen? But you know what? 2 years, it doesn't feel like 2 years.
It doesn't. No, I agree.
Wow. Anyway,
it must have been fun.
Almost there.
Well, you know what? Time flies when you're having fun, guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, joining Adam and I is Live Long and Podcast awesome producer and the man who would never take a swing at Captain Picard, Dave Mater.
I might not take a swing at Picard himself, but I am taking a swing tonight. I am throwing rights, lefts, uppercuts, jabs. There will be no mercy. There will be no holding back. I am going to testify as to what is wrong with this episode, this finale, and its blemish, not just on this series, but on all Star Trek ever.
Wow. All right. And of course, I don't even know how I could bother with Kevin's intro at this point. Like,
I can't follow.
And of course, who could forget the man who most likely will tell us this episode can go to hell? Kevin Millard.
This episode can go to hell, but I leave it to Dave to really tell us why.
It sounds like Dave's going to be the he's going to be the artist today. This is it. The last episode of Enterprise we will review. Next week's episode is going to be us flashing back to the, I think we're doing what, top 5 and 5
top 5 and bottom 5 and see
bottom
if we
5, top 5
them or we reevaluate our ratings, I guess.
I'm pretty sure this one's going to be in the low 5s for Dave. For sure.
It is guaranteed to be in my low 5. Yes.
Right,
maybe not the overall low 5. We'll have to see how you guys
so Jody, I think we should start with Dave tonight because
we're not there yet. I still got stuff to say first before we let him loose.
Let's let him stew for a little while.
Yeah. You gotta. You know what? Dave is like a fine wine. You have to let it age a bit.
Yeah, he's like a spring right now. You can see it just bottle.
Oh, he's ready to go. He's ready to go. He's like a bobblehead right now.
When you were rebooting Adam, he was like, "Where is Adam? I want to get started."
Anyway,
we're already late.
As I said, tonight's episode is These Are the Voyages. This is the 97th and final episode of the series. This episode is about in hopes of receiving some help before making a difficult personal decision. Riker of the Enterprise D observes the holodeck simulation of the final mission of the original Starship Enterprise as commanded by Jonathan Archer. So there you go. All right, Dave.
Okay, I'm going to start
Get a quick out before we hit the screenshots.
I'm going to start with saying that I don't hate the idea of doing an episode like this per se, although I hate the idea of doing it as the finale. But I do like this idea of a crossover episode with one of the sequel series, even though I know that Enterprise is a prequel, but the ones that come in the time later on in the timeline. But everything about the execution of this was poorly done. Where do you start? Where do you start? Okay, the story is bad because we're skipping ahead to the end. We're skipping ahead 5-6 years after the previous episode.
6 years. Yeah.
Actually, no, we're not even skipping ahead. No. We're not even skipping ahead 6 years. We are skipping ahead 200 years.
Well,
because all of our characters by this point are dead. We're not watching our characters at all. We're watching like a rerun that they're watching in 200 years that may or may not even be historically accurate. We don't even really know. We can't be sure. Just how he says, I thought Reed would be taller. I thought he was a larger than life personality. Clearly they got that wrong in the history books. We would all agree on that. It's there's just like so much that's wrong with this episode. They kill off Trip in the end for no reason. It's just to make sure that this crew could never get back together, that they could never do anything again. It's there's just so much wrong with it. How about the fact that Hoshi never got a promotion? We always like to like dunk on Harry Kim about how he never got promoted and all those. How many years was Hoshi an ensign, and Travis for that matter, and Reed as a lieutenant? Like it's and the uniforms that we see these Enterprise guys wearing are so bad. But beyond it all, the choice of what episode in the Next Generation to set this up against, to set this at the same time as the Pegasus.
They use Pegasus, yeah.
The most egregious crime that is committed here, because the Next Generation, beloved series, probably my favorite Star Trek. It's really close between DS9 and TNG for my all-time favorite Star Trek. And the Pegasus is possibly one of my favorite episodes of the Next Generation. I watched it again. I threw on the Pegasus this morning just before I watched this, just to make sure that it was like, well, maybe this is a nice little supplemental to the Pegasus. Maybe this is going to enhance that episode and make me go like, maybe I was wrong about that. No, it's worse. It's even worse. Okay. Because the Pegasus, such a good episode, such a strong episode, has a very specific tone to it. Okay. And this episode, not to mention, like, take aside that Riker and Troy look much older than they did in that episode. I'll put that aside. Whatever. But that the tone, Riker's demeanor, what he's doing, how he's acting, doesn't work. If you were to edit these two episodes together, it would feel like what is this shit? Like this is all you would say. This is not a put together story. And on top of it all, the dialogue is the most cringy, awful, terrible fan service wankfest dialogue I have ever come across in all of Star Trek. This is by far the worst episode of Star Trek ever, because not only is it a terrible finale and a disservice to the Enterprise cast, crew, and creators, but it ruins one of the best TNG episodes ever. The floor is yours.
All right. Well, on that note, shall we start with the screenshots? All right.
No, wait a second. I got to go now because.
You have to go.
No, I'm not.
He wants to give us the counterpoint.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Actually, Dave, you just got me really upset.
Uh-oh.
Like, you know what? I had watched this twice. I watched it last week before we did last week's episode and watched you guys get all upset about it. And that's when I didn't think it was so bad. And then I watched it again yesterday and again. But you know what? Thinking more about it, there's a lot of bad to it. I'm going to agree with you on that one. The one thing that really bothered me was the link to Pegasus. Because, first of all, back to Next Gen, that episode, it was not given enough time. And it was not given enough, I guess, weight to what had actually occurred. Mm-hmm. And it was a great episode, by the way. But I just felt it wasn't enough. And now you got this coming in. But there's a couple of things that really bothered me, if I can just chime in here.
Sure.
Not even Trip's death, because it's Riker as a bloody chef. And do you really think that the crew would talk to him that way? They were giving up all kinds of secrets.
Well, I believe Riker as a chef because we saw in
sorry, in that relationship.
In that relationship?
I mean, they were just like, I heard that there's
the fact that they were that close with the chef doesn't make a lot of sense.
I heard Shran's coming back. What do you mean Shran's coming back? Who's Shran to you? Like, come on. I don't know.
For me, it's not even the content of the episode that's the problem, although it is the problem. But it's the fact that this is the finale of this show, and it's not even an episode of this fucking show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what do you think happened?
It's not an episode of this show. It's not
like
even an episode. It's not even an episode of TNG. It's the B story for a 20-year-old episode, and this is supposed to be the finale of this show. the finale,
Yeah,
like
but
the
what-
send off for this show, and it's all about Riker and Troy.
But how did it happen? Like, did they actually come in like they were in the last 5 episodes? Oh shit, we have nothing to end this episode in or this series in. Like what? And we have never even worked in Riker into anything because he's, you know, I just don't know how we got here in the whole writing scheme.
Yeah.
Like it just seems, to your point, very just disjointed as far as like when did they decide to cancel?
Well, and I think that's where the hate of the
like
they were canceled like the 3rd episode into this 4th season. They already knew they were canceled.
They knew that this was going to be their last season for most of it.
So they could have done this episode like 5 ago, like in
Sure. They want to do this crossover, this call, or this, like, I guess, flash forward to the TNG and how the next gen era people look back on the Enterprise crew. I think that could have been interesting. I think they could have thrown this in the middle of the season.
Yeah, I think that would have been a lot better. But you're absolutely right about that, Kevin. Is that we did not get satisfied with a good ending at all.
No. And I think that's the reason why everybody hates this episode, is not just for the content of the episode, but also this was the farewell, which is just terrible. Like don't get me wrong, we've had some shitty finales in Star Trek. Well, Voyager comes to mind. I absolutely hate Voyager's ending. But it was still Voyager. It wasn't next gen. Yeah. You know, it wasn't a next gen episode that happened to have something of Enterprise in it, right? So, there we go.
It would be a bad next gen episode, because even like the dynamic between Riker and Troy feels wrong. It feels like, first of all, Troy and Riker met after his events on the Pegasus, right? So she would be familiar, at least, with his emotions around it, if he never talked about it. And she'd be able to read him, you know, that this is weighing on him so much, but none of that's in the episode at all.
I have a question too, because I don't quite understand, and maybe I'm missing it, but how does what he's doing on the holodeck have anything to do with him making decisions in the Pegasus episode? It doesn't make sense to me.
What I took from it was that because Trip didn't follow orders and sacrificed himself, that's what gives Riker the courage to tell Picard the truth. But that's not even what the episode is, okay? Like, if you go back and watch the Pegasus, which again I did this morning, he only confronts and tells the truth about what's going on with Pressman and the cloaking device after basically he has no choice but to. That, you know,
because at that point they've already found the Pegasus. The Pegasus is already like halfway in a rock.
They're trapped in the asteroid, and that's when Riker says, "Oh well, we do have a way out of here. We can use the device."
Yeah,
basically, and it doesn't work. Plot wise, story wise, because he was you don't even need this to make that episode. This makes that Pegasus worse. Like, it's just.
All
Dave,
right.
It doesn't ruin the Pegasus episode. You don't.
It doesn't ruin
have
the Pegasus episode.
You don't have to think about this when you're watching the Pegasus episode anymore.
I do, though.
I don't think it. All it did was say to me is that we needed more of the Pegasus episode, because it was way more.
Well, the Pegasus episode I always felt was rushed at the end anyway. So I feel that they could have did better with the Pegasus episode originally, but I really like the Pegasus episode. It's one of my
because they were making the Pegasus, like TNG in that era where they didn't have a lot of connecting storylines. Like, TNG is very episodic. I think in a modern series they would have like followed up with maybe the court martial on Pressman. There may have been consequences to like what Riker had done, keeping that information from Picard. Things like that. But of course, in that era, it was also the 7th season of Next Gen, and they didn't have many episodes left after that. So,
and you also have to remember we also had 2 series after that. So, well, mind you, DS9 was already running, but we had those 2 series that also gave us more connecting stories. So with that, it kind of it just feels. You know what? I think if I have to sum this entire episode up, it just feels cheap. It feels cheap and just lazy. And I know what they were trying to do. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to make the connection. But making that connection should be just a slight nod to it, not a let's make the entire let's make the entire episode about how Riker needs to deal with a problem when this is the only time he's ever been on the show other than directing it, obviously. But like it just seems so cheap. Like it's just such a cop out, I guess, is a good way to look at it.
If I were a fan of this show at the time, I would have been fucking livid after
this caused a lot of trouble. This caused an absolute ton of trouble. I remember like the web forums were going nuts about this. They were all pissed off about it. So with that, I totally get where people get that they hate this. And if you recall, Kevin, we actually even told you this was going to happen.
Oh yeah.
We told you the last episode of this series is going to make you angry. And it really does. But I think there is some good stuff in it. I don't think it's a complete terrible thing, but it's not the worst episode of Enterprise, in my opinion.
Because it's not even an episode of Enterprise.
And it's not even an episode of Enterprise.
It's still an episode.
It's not even the worst episode of Next Gen. We already know which episode that is. Anyway.
It is by far. I stand by. It is bad. All
right. Anyway, we've spent 15 minutes on this. Let's get moving.
Okay, let's watch some holograms.
I want Dave to also rant during our screenshots, which makes
bunch of holograms of now they have name tags and epaulets for no reason.
Well, 10 years has passed, Dave. Well, not
why
here.
would they? Are they getting confused now that they need to add the name tags?
Yeah, well, they don't know each other. 10 years has passed. They still don't know each other's names.
It would have made more sense for them to start with the name tags and then take them off.
But one thing that I will say is that shot of Riker, when they went to him there, he just looked old and tired.
Also, no name tag, right?
Well, he's not there.
Who?
Yeah, he's there.
No, Riker does have a name tag on.
I can't read it.
He does. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he does have a name tag there.
What are the epaulets for?
I don't
They're
know.
berets.
The what?
I'm just kidding. They're berets. They hold the berets.
They hold berets.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just in case you need to hold your beret or your NX-01 baseball hat. You can put it in there.
Guys, guess what? We're changing up the uniform. We're adding this epaulet that we won't use.
This is
Onto
a
the
good
jumpsuit.
comment from Norman here. Where's the Ask Me button? I like it. Oh man.
You know what? One more thing before we get going, but is the one thing I think they were trying to do is sort of impress upon the importance of the Enterprise crew. That 200 years later, that Riker still wants to hear and see what they did.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
and
perhaps if they were so important, they should have shown us more of them during the show.
Or mention them.
Exactly.
All right.
So anyway, we see Riker. Riker shows up, so instantly we already know that this is not exactly where we are. This would have been a shock for people. Like I don't remember watching this episode when it came out, but I know I did. But I don't remember what my reaction was. I probably looked at this and said, "What the fuck is Riker doing here?"
Well, I think at the beginning you're curious.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's definitely a curiosity there, and for a cold open, it's not terrible. Because it does make you wonder what's going on.
Sure.
It looks very crowded in that bridge all of a sudden.
It does.
They've added the columns behind the bridge. Go back a few. I don't know if you see like the captain's chair. Do we? I see it. They've added these columns. Actually, I don't see it there. Maybe it's only on the other side. I saw
are you talking the column that goes down that has the screen on it?
Yeah, is it near? It's
Travis's only on one side.
It's only on one side, but they added that. I don't know. They've redressed the set.
Yeah, we can see it right there.
So I guess, that column there with that panel next to Travis's station.
Yeah, this
like
one
who
right here.
uses that?
Later on, Malcolm does.
Okay,
but that's about it.
Use
And
your
then,
own
of course, it goes to Riker in the holodeck, clearly on the D, because we're very familiar with this. Now, the one thing I did like to see was the CG'd version of the Enterprise D.
I thought the cells were too square, or too,
They do have a weird look to them, though. I will give you that. Yeah. I did notice that they're almost a little too tall. In a way, like they're
Yeah,
I remember them being
everything
a little
else
bit
I liked. I just didn't like that.
I didn't really.
but on that angle, it looks normal. So it's almost like this was rendered wrong or something.
Hmm.
Oh, you know what it is? This is actually the bottom of this. So that's
Oh,
actually
yeah.
not the full
Oh,
thing.
maybe that's it.
The
Yeah.
cutoff's right there. Yeah. Either way, I liked seeing it. I was happy to see it.
Well,
but
we were all
then-
happy to see it, but
and then we go to 10 forward. Now, the one thing that I thought was interesting that they did here, which I hope I got a screenshot up, but I might not have. I don't know if you noticed, but Picard was in this episode.
Well, they used some stock footage from like
used stock footage,
so
Menage a Troy.
this is exactly Menage a Troy.
I think this shot might be a composite of like the stock footage because there was like the guy from Menage a Troy, like the Betazoid guy was there all of a sudden.
Oh, I didn't notice him. Okay, yeah,
I know
they
the
probably
episode
just did that, but
Apparently,
like
some
Picard was
of
there,
the
but he wasn't facing forward. He was facing towards the the windows.
And apparently, in this shot somewhere, Riker's actually in it twice. So
Is that him behind Deanna?
I don't know. We have to go back and watch it again. Something, but
I can see if I can find it.
But anyway,
lower.
he's talking about how he's been watching this final mission in the holodeck. This was based on Troy's idea to do that, and he's dealing with this dilemma that he has, which we find out later is his decision in the Pegasus to tell Captain Picard, because Picard doesn't know about the Pegasus. He has no idea what it is, other than it was a ship that
destroyed.
Will served on at one point.
So the episode "The Pegasus" came out in 1994. This is 2005. So it's been 11 years since that
11 years.
between. But man, those put some city miles on Frakes. And
Yeah,
Frakes
Frakes definitely got a little bit higher mileage going on there.
Yeah,
they gotta switch him to that high mileage oil.
I think he turned to drinking hard.
Spent a lot of time at conventions, Dave.
Yeah, and he was directing
Conventions
movies.
will do that to you guys. Like, let's be honest.
Whatever.
But anyway, the two of them are walking. He's like, "Oh, well, I guess I'll go back to the holodeck and try something out." She's like, "Well, why don't you go a little bit forward and see how things progress, kind of thing."
And why don't you come with me, Deanna?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that's later.
Okay.
But anyway, so he goes back into this. He kind of fast forwards. We find out that they're getting a communication from what appears to be Shran. Turns out it is Shran, and he's not
supposed to be dead.
Supposed to be dead. He's not in the guard anymore. And he faked his own death, basically.
Because there's all kinds of great episodes we've missed, apparently. That's what they're trying to tell us here.
Yes, that would have been season 5 and 6, probably.
Yeah.
You would have got all those cool episodes.
Another little salt in the wound, kind of.
Yeah, you might as well just dump it all in there. But anyway, so basically Shran lets Archer know that you owe me one and I need your help, and the help that he's asking for is essentially his daughter has been kidnapped and is being held for ransom. Apparently he is in possession of a jewel that somebody wants, which they could have made something a little bit more impressive
Fucking
than a
jewel thief. Like, they took an episode and they made me not give a shit about Shran.
Yeah,
Like,
which is
how
hard
did
to
they
do.
Fucking manage that.
Yeah, he's
He's
literally
like,
one of the best things in this show, and
He's a galactic jewel thief now. Like, what the fuck are we doing with this episode?
Yeah.
This is awful.
This is gonna be a long episode. So anyway, Shred's basically like, you owe me pink skin, basically, and Archer's like, yeah, I guess I owe you. That's fine. Okay, well, we're supposed to be going because I'm getting ready for my nice speech, because we're gonna start, founding the Federation, basically. And I got my speech, but you know what?
No, he doesn't have a speech because he's freaking procrastinating.
Yeah, he's still procrastinating on it.
But he's not going to take all the credit, guys.
But but where they're on their way right now is to go back to Earth. They're on their way back to Earth when he calls them. And he's like, well, I guess I could have a side route for a little while. Why not? And then there's Frakes, obviously, again. And he's like, oh, there's Shred. Oh, that's interesting. And
so
then,
at this point, what, Pressman's already on the ship, right? Yeah, Pressman's already come back. So to say, Will, we found the Pegasus. We have to go find it. And you know what?
He would be at this point, yeah.
Like in that episode, he talks about he was doing bat lifts with Worf in the gym or something.
Yeah, like Riker is going to be a busy guy. Like
Right.
he's got to sit for like 2 hours in the holodeck. He's got to talk to everybody as the chef. He's also got to, do some nice fighting with Worf. Like the man's got a busy schedule,
and he's first officer and dealing with all this stuff. But like, this seems like a weird, like, you know what? I'm dealing with a really hard moral crisis 12 years ago. You know what I'm going to go do? Play some video games. Maybe that's how some people clear their head. I guess that's how Riker clears his head.
I guess so.
But
yeah. Anyway, so reluctantly, but Archer agrees. Yeah, okay, I'll help you out, kind of thing. And then at this point, basically Riker is like, woo! No, actually, what he's actually doing is he's saying, oh, go forward to when we get to whatever planet they're going to. I can't even remember. But they're eventually going to a planet.
The same one, the first one they started on, like Rigel something.
Rigel 5 or 4 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually it was the first one. Yeah, because then he says later on in the episode, it's kind of ironic that our last mission is in the same place that our first planet that we hung out on.
I'll tell you what I did like. I'm
very curious to find that out.
Showing the holodeck, how he goes from character mode to objective mode, and just watching it.
I also like how he later on, when him and Troy are walking around and the ship's deserted, he's like, we need to add some people. So he just adds people into the hallways and stuff. That was kind of cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Is that all you got, Dave?
I'll tell you things I liked if they come up.
Oh, okay, cool.
If
they come up.
Yeah. If they come up.
I agree. All right, fair enough. All right. So anyway, at this point, he's like, okay, let's fast forward. And then Riker goes, this is where he goes into observation.
Yeah, because Archer and T'Pol are going to have a conversation in the ready room. So there's no reason his character, the ensign, would come in and listen to their conversation. So this is where
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
I never picked up on that, but that makes sense. Yeah.
Right. But even though Harry Kim says, I could never imagine just watching the story and not being part of it. He said that in a holodeck episode once.
Yeah. So Shran's basically explaining the whole situation to Archer. But Shran doesn't actually have the jewel. Did they even explain where the jewel actually was?
They tried.
Who cares?
It doesn't matter.
Who cares?
Either way, they're going to fashion a new one. And T'Pol's going to be in charge of that. She's going to fashion it. She's actually in the room, but we don't see him in any of these clips for some strange reason.
I guess she comes. Maybe they have their conversation next after Shran.
Oh, maybe, yeah. But we do see Riker in there, and he's sitting on. I guess it's a chair or something.
Yeah, there's a chair in this.
There's got to be like a lounger or something. But
Somebody's
anyway,
got to use it.
Yeah, someone's got to use it. But anyway, so Shred's like, I don't have this, blah blah blah. They're gonna know, and then that's a perfect facial expression as to how we feel about this episode.
Yeah. Arms crossed.
But she's like, why are we going along with this? Like, we have things to do. Like, why are you even entertaining this?
Next cringy. I hated this dialogue where he was like, "You have a problem with Andorians." And you always did.
And he's like, I used to have a problem with Vulcans, and then someone showed me different, which was you, basically.
All right, again, like this is a holodeck program. Like this conversation wasn't recorded, so we have to. So the holodeck is just making this up. Maybe the conversation went this way. Maybe it didn't. It probably didn't.
It's 10 years into the relationship. I don't think of you talking to her like that.
No, I agree. Like that's
Sam says Kevin looks checked. I wouldn't disagree with that. Kevin's just trying to get through it. Anyway, just like we all are. But I did have to get a couple shots of him playing with his water polo ball again. Because we hadn't
seen that in a couple episodes
That's true. Yeah. And he's bouncing it off the walls and stuff, and then he puts it away, and Riker's like, why does he have this stupid ball? But anyway. And there's good old Porthos. Porthos jumping on him. We at least got to see Porthos again. That's always nice. There's a plus for the episode. We got to see Porthos again. I'm just grasping on whatever I can get.
See, I hated this scene. I hated all these little scenes, these chatty scenes.
I understood why they were there, and I get what they were trying to do, but it didn't come off right. Like in the whole like him kissing her like after he pauses the program was also weird.
Yeah,
Like it was just
gross. Like,
yeah.
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 But basically he's talking about Archer blah blah blah, and she's like Archer's a stern dude and blah blah blah.
that actually started a whole interesting conversation with me and Callie upstairs. We were talking about what really happens on holodecks, with the and we don't need to talk about that tonight. I'm just talking about what happened.
Based on lower decks, it's mostly porn.
Yes.
Mostly porn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Riker is
have
no
to clear out
Guinan.
the biomatter that gets left over in the holodeck afterwards.
We agree. Riker is definitely no Guinan. But basically, he's just trying to get more insight into Archer, basically, and how he does his decision making, which, as far as I can tell, is Archer.
Oh no. He's trying to find out whether or not she misses Trip.
Oh,
what
that's
he's trying
right.
to figure
That's
out.
right. That's right. Yeah,
Because
sorry. No.
That matters to his situation.
And why would he even know about that?
Why would he care?
Yeah.
Well,
And what does it have to do with what he's like his morals
All right.
quandary?
You're totally right.
Yeah, that was stupid.
And here, Jody, he has no time for this either. He's got
No, because time is still actually running where he is.
Admiral Pressman is here.
Like Pressman's there, and they're gonna find this damn ship soon. And
I think you just want to spend more time with her.
I think maybe that's actually what's going on. Yeah. But anyway, she ends up helping him prepare some sort of meal, and here's that creepy kiss thing.
Jesus.
Yeah. It's gross. Yeah.
Well, she's
anyway.
frozen too.
Yeah. But anyway, then we go back to the weird, the slightly off-putting
I guess
Enterprise. Okay. I don't know why, but anyway,
it's okay. It's fine.
It's
but this Ronald Moore, yeah, Don Velasquez, like all the producers and writers. I don't think these are their actual photos, but these are all the people that died on the Pegasus. This was okay. I'll give this a positive thing. That he was. I like that they're wearing those season 1, season 2 era TNG uniforms. At least they paid attention to the right uniform for those guys.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, he goes back in, and she's like, "So, how's your little thing going on in the holodeck there?" And he's like, "Oh,
I kissed
Paul." And
yeah.
He's like, "I got to talk to Paul," and she's like, "Well, have you talked to Trip yet? Have you talked to so and so yet?" Blah blah blah. And he's like, "No."
Where are all the Captain Picard Day decorations?
That's true. That was happening at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, that could have been on the opposite side.
No, it was on this side.
Was it on this side?
I watched the episode this morning.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it was on. Well, yeah, because the windows were back. Yeah, I remember that. You're right.
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess they took those down by then. At that point,
They must have. But
because that was at the beginning of the episode.
Well, it has been 11 years.
Well, that too.
It was supposed to be Captain Picard Day soon, or Commander Riker Day. Next
Commander
week.
Riker Day was going to be next month.
Yeah.
So anyway, they basically have this deep philosophical discussion. Oh wait, no, they didn't. They just talked about how he was on the.
That face looks like she's just saying, "You kissed to Paul." Go back.
Yeah, basically. But we know that she's like, "You went to there for porn, didn't you?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hell yeah, I did."
That's a perfect face for it.
He's like, "Well, let's go.
Let's go.
We'll have a little afternoon delight."
Yeah, we'll throw a Trip on it too.
Yeah, we'll throw some Trip in there. It'll be a good time. And so anyway, he goes back into, I guess this is Archer's version of a ready room, essentially.
Yeah, this is him showing Troy the program kind of in objective mode or just frozen mode. Them just kind of geeking out about.
I did always like those pictures on the wall, though. I think those are
they're like fine, but they're saying that the ready room was smaller than their brig. Like just coming out how small the ship was.
Yeah, well, there's a big difference between the D and the NX-01.
Yeah, you could
look
fit
at
about,
that.
Oh, look at that.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Original Enterprise.
You can fit about 10 NX-01s in, maybe probably more, maybe like 100 NX-01s inside the D, like just the saucer alone. It is a lot bigger. Like the NX-01 is like the size of the nacelle of the D, right? So
Yeah.
not even as tall.
Yeah,
but about the same
it's
length.
pretty small. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a difference in complement and crew as well, and all that.
But I remember watching this at the time back in 2005 or whatever it was, and actively hating this dialogue between Troy and Riker.
Oh, the dialogue's terrible in this episode.
Like when she's is it the next scene? Go keep going. When they go into the bridge here, and
and now that thing's there.
yeah, you see it there more prominently. That
No, but that's on the. Wait a second.
it's on. We noticed it in the opening, but it's
yeah, but no, it was on the opposite side.
maybe.
So maybe there is two.
Maybe, but there's like, okay, just when she goes over here to like the science viewer, you know, and she's like, I saw these before, and he's like, Kirkship happened. Like, why is it just Kirkship? All like Constitution class had them, not just James Kirk's Enterprise.
Well, maybe he's only familiar with Kirkship because maybe he also, you know, goes on there to get some Nurse Chapel action as well.
I doubt that. Like he's he would know the history of Starfleet. He's a commander in Starfleet of the flagship of the Federation. He knows more than this. And it's just bad dialogue. It's cringy, bad dialogue.
Yeah, it's almost like somebody like went onto the forums and say, "Hey, what do you think she should say?" And then some asshole just said, "Oh, she should say this." And then they're like, "Oh, great, we'll put that."
This was bad fan service before it became an epidemic in our entertainment.
Yeah, well, and Norman does point out something in our thing. Remember, the authors of this episode are Berman and Braga.
Well, no, I remember.
We remember.
They've written better episodes than this.
But to be fair, they also wrote Broken Bow, which was
which
a good
is better
episode
than this.
with decent dialogue.
Like, I think even my most I'll try to figure out what my most hated episode was other than this. But and it's probably Berman and Braga, but
yeah. So anyway, they're walking and it's desolate. Riker's like, "Oh, we should we're gonna add some people." He adds some people into the mix, and then we get into essentially Malcolm and Trip talking in the thing. He's cleaning some sort of sensors or something, and basically he's like, "Well, what?" Malcolm's like, "Well, why are you even doing this? They're gonna decommission this ship in like a month or something," and he's like, "Hey, it's my ship. I practically made this thing. Like, come on," which. I don't know if that's totally true, but you know, I guess he kept it moving anyway.
Is this where they mentioned that they're gonna build another Enterprise?
Well, and he goes, "Yeah, you know, hopefully they'll build another Enterprise or something like that." And he goes, "Yeah, I heard they're, you know, it's not too far away, kind of thing," which I guess is true.
They're all speculating now too, right? You know,
yeah.
who's going where, and
yeah, they don't know where everybody's heading out at this point. So
seems like something you would start to figure out if you were at Starfleet Command.
Well, at this point, they're only a couple days away from retirement, essentially, from this ship. So you would think at this point they would already know where they're going.
At least a couple of them would start to know where they're going. Only it seems Hoshi has her life.
Hoshi's the only one that's actually got things planned.
Yeah. She's getting out.
So anyway, they're now coming up with their idea for what they're going to do. You know, stuff like that.
Before I forget, do you know what would have been a good idea to tie into this episode if you're going to do it? Like in the Pegasus, who is their adversary in the Pegasus?
The Romulans.
The Romulans. Yeah. And who was an adversary in this season of Star Trek? The Romulans. What kind of brought the original Federation members together? The Romulans. You know, maybe throw that into the story and make it actually good, you know, and like and thought out. Instead of like throwing Shred in here to buy a jewel for some dumb thing.
So everybody that's in the comments right now, I want you to tell me what you think Dave is going to score this episode out of 10.
Give a guess.
I have a pretty good guess. Anyway, so yeah, they're basically observing what they're going to do. She does make mention that she has to go meet Barclay.
Or he's gonna he's gonna lose his mind or something. She said it was a weird line.
Maybe he shouldn't be in Starfleet.
The guy should not be in Starfleet. Like he can't.
Like, how good of a counselor is she really?
Yeah,
like
she's terrible. But do you know what the other thing is too? This other stupid line before I forget is the one who's like, "No fish tank in the ready room. How could you survive without a fish tank?" What are you talking about? What kind of dialogue is this?
Oh, it's stupid. It's totally stupid.
Survive.
Also, this is the finale for Enterprise.
Yeah.
For Enterprise, not TNG.
Oh God, it's so bad.
So Sam says you're going to give it a 0.
I might go further.
And Norman says 0 to the power of 13.1.
He's closer, I think. I've been debating if I'm going to go into the negatives.
Ooh,
So-
can we do that? We
I
can.
don't know. I've never done it
Well,
before.
Dave runs the show. He can do it if he wants to.
I was gonna say he can do anything he wants.
So anyway, they've come across this idea of a plan. They're going to go down there, and T'Pol's going to go with Sharan, and they have this fake jewel that they're going to put in this case. And
This is
they're
where
gonna-
it got. Sorry, Dave. This is where it got really stupid. Now,
just
Oh,
this point,
Oh no, just now.
just this point. Oh, okay.
no, for me, like I was slightly annoyed. Now I'm really annoyed.
Yeah.
Like, watching this twice in 1 week was painful.
So yeah, and I've watched it twice because I had to go do the screenshots the second time around. Yeah. So this is now where Trip goes. Trip can foresee the fact that he's going to die, obviously. But he's like, no, I should go. You shouldn't go. You should stay here. You're too important to the cause, blah, 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 blah. And Archer's just like, come on, man. I gotta have fun too. Like, come on. I've been out here for 10 years, it should be fine. So anyway, we end up in the 2 shuttles. There's 2 going down to the planet. We have some Makos here. We have Trip and Mayweather, obviously, in this one, and Riker's in this one. What I thought was really interesting is the holodeck actually did give him a Makos patch that actually has his name on his arm, which
It says Riker on it.
Yeah, it does say Riker. There it is right there.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, wow, they really, that holodeck really does have attention to detail. I still don't understand how clothing works on holodeck, but anyway.
Yeah, well, they kind of were doing that a little bit on Voyager at the end too, so it's
Yeah.
They kind of said, but I like how T'Pol still doesn't wear a uniform, although she adds name tags to her outfit.
She does have a name tag, and she does wear a Starfleet badge.
And she wears like and she wears the coat.
And
which
she
is
does wear
nice.
the away team coat. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this whole conversation was absolutely aggravating as well. They're like, basically, oh, it's been like 6 years, since we were together. And he's like, do you miss me? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no.
Their whole relationship is one of the worst parts of this fucking show.
Yeah.
Which it could have been good.
It could have been great.
Could have been good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And
I think they just started it too late. I think that was the biggest issue.
they
with
drove
that.
it off a cliff for no reason.
Oh yeah. They just hit right into it. So anyway, they're coming down to this kind of wintry type planet. And they end up meeting essentially this guy. I don't know what race he is.
No one cares.
No one cares either. Typical thug with stuff on his face and dreads. That's all you need to know.
He's definitely a voice actor who's been on a bunch of episodes. But
Yeah, his voice is definitely familiar.
it's
but I
distinct.
don't
I'm
know.
like, he's been in a bunch of episodes. But I'm gonna figure out who he is actually.
Yeah.
While you-
But again, if we want to give it a positive, the makeup is always good on this show. How about that?
Sure.
The makeup was great.
The makeup was fine. And then we got to see Shran's little girl. He pulls her out and he basically is like, give me the diamond or whatever.
Oh, she's cute. She's really
She's a cute little girl. And I like that her antennas moved as well. That how I feel about the antennas. So with that, so they end up opening T'Pol opens the case, puts it down on the ground. He's like, put it down on the ground, and then he's like, can T'Pol take my daughter? I'll stay here. Can T'Pol take my daughter to safety, kind of thing. So they have a little moment, which, who knew that Shran actually liked his kids. But turns out he does. And then,
He even had a kid.
he seems like he's an okay father. And then T'Pol basically takes her back to the shuttles. He then, starts looking at this thing. And then we figure out that the Enterprise crew is also sitting there ready with the ambush. So now I don't know where they are. I'm guessing they're up in the rafters of the stage that they actually shot this show on, because this is the most lazy fucking layout I've ever seen for this. I honestly think this is just the catwalk above the stage they shoot on.
And
it's
this
that generic.
Very likely.
This
Yeah.
firefight was far too long.
It was very long. It's also very hard to get screenshots
This
of.
whole fucking episode is way too long. It is It's
As long as any other episode.
Every moment of it is painful.
It feels
It's
long.
bad.
It feels long. Yeah. The time does not fly by when you're watching this episode. So anyway, they basically shoot these guys up. Blah 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 blah. You know, there's some Makos. There's Riker shooting as well.
He doesn't even look cool. Like
no.
I can't believe it.
He looks like an old man they gave a gun and an army suit to. That's literally what he looks like.
Yeah.
You know what he looks like? He looks like half the cast of the Expendables. That's what he looks like.
Yeah, a little puffy.
Yeah, a little puffy, little too much now. So anyway, they shoot everybody. You presume they're dead. Wow, I got a lot of shots of this.
Because it's a long firefight.
It is long.
Yeah, let's waste all.
And then we see, and then we get the whole fake out because we know he's gonna die. We get the whole fake out. Oh, is this where Trip dies? Turns out, no.
You had no idea he would never make it back, so we know he's gonna. Yeah, that's the other thing. They tell us he's gonna die.
They killed it right in the beginning. Yeah, he had no idea. He was ever gonna
save
make
it.
Yeah, Troy says that to Riker like almost right at the beginning of the episode, which is just brutal. And then obviously he helps them. They get back to the ship. I do like the fact that they're still docked at this point. Like they still have the things that pull them in connected. I thought that was cool. The umbilicals, I guess there. So anyway, he's like, oh, thank you, blah, blah, blah. And then she does the whole, thank you, pink skin. Because, we had to have her say the same thing.
Best
Is
line
there a
ever.
reason why she's green now?
Yeah, because the mom's an Enar.
Mom's an Enar.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
She looked
She
looked more blue on the planet.
Yeah.
And so
the lighting was different. Yeah.
Right. So it was jarring to me. But
remember how Shran's girlfriend got killed by the Tellarite thing, and then he got a new girlfriend like a second later. And then he got a kid with her apparently. Yeah. So and here we are. And I guess they can jump the timeline ahead so she can be a cute kid that can talk.
There you go.
Right. I think that's also part of the reason this episode.
Well, anyway, these two are kind of patting themselves on the back, job well done, blah, 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 blah. We see Riker watching the two of them. And then we go back to the Enterprise, who is now in, obviously in that
the Enterprise D.
Yeah, this is the Enterprise D, and we're now in the asteroid field that they're looking for the Pegasus. And we have Deanna, who is, I guess, hanging out in the ready room at this point.
She's in her quarters.
Oh, is she in her quarters? Oh, you're right. She is in her quarters. Excuse me. And then, Will's like, oh, yeah, sorry, after hours and all. But, I'm like, dude, you're boning her at this point. Like, what's the issue?
No, he's not yet.
Isn't he?
No. This
Haven't
is when they're not together at this point. They don't get back together till the movies.
To the movies.
Oh, that's true. You're right. Yep. Okay. But anyway, we know they're going to bone anyway. But anyway. Yep. And Wesley will be at the wedding, but you won't see him more than once. But anyway,
there's actually a scene. There's in the opening scene where Riker is in, or maybe it was in the Pegasus, but there's a scene like in 10 Forward where he checks out a girl's butt. She's going by.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, I think it's in the Pegasus.
Yeah,
when he's talking to Pressman.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. And she's like, well, have you made a decision yet? And he's like, maybe.
Oh yeah, and this is where he goes and tells her everything that's going on. Yeah. This is the other thing I hated, because I'm like, this is the thing he couldn't come to tell Picard, his most trusted, confidant. So he tells Troy. Again, the fact that they had never talked about this during their relationship or even the most
because they have a history. It's not like they
were Imzadi. They were going to get married, and then he got promoted, and then it didn't work out, and then they split up.
They split
Dave, and also the fact that he actually said to her, "You can't tell anybody." Come on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Isn't she duty bound to go and tell Picard?
No, she's a counselor. She's duty bound.
No, there is that confidentiality thing between the Doctor and
but she's a Starfleet commander too.
No, not in the commission of a crime.
A crime?
No way. Or something that endangers the Enterprise? No way.
Interstellar
that is out
crime.
The window.
Not just the Enterprise. The entire Federation is potentially going to get put into war with the Romulan Empire over this. This is a big deal.
This is a big deal. Yeah.
So,
but Deanna wouldn't conceptualize that. She wouldn't understand how big of a deal that is.
No, but he explains during this conversation. He's like, "Are you familiar with that accord?" Blah blah blah. So she knows now. Like she knows at this point.
I've been watching a lot of Next Gen lately, and
Me too.
I find her very annoying. The whole thing that she had to get her, her bridge command and all that. Just like
The best thing about Troy is in the episode with what's his name, where he basically tells her to put on a fucking uniform. I love that episode.
I wish we'd gotten more movie Troy in the series.
Movie Troy was good. More interesting.
Movie Troy was better.
Yeah.
And if Davin was here, he would tell you that was the stupid men and next generation writers who didn't know how to write women. I don't know if that's completely true, but it's.
I think that's probably something to do with it. The time
it's something to do with it for sure.
I mean, it's the '80s, man.
It was, but I think it's a little overstated. But
maybe,
maybe. Well, I don't know though, because look at Pulaski, look at Crusher.
What did they not have one good scene in all of those seasons? Did they not?
Were
they always written poorly?
Every had a couple of episodes.
Pulaski was a strong woman.
I think that they have plenty of good scenes, Crusher and Troy and Pulaski and Tashiar for that matter.
Not Deanna.
Even her.
Deanna had a couple.
Are there no episodes, no moments with Deanna in all of Next Generation?
In the episode where Picard's in the turbo lift with the kids.
No, she was terrible in that episode because
I liked her in that episode.
Oh no!
Because
she
got genuine.
Ensign Rowe was totally.
She had no fucking idea what she was supposed to do.
Exactly,
which was good.
No, it was awful, Jody.
What about in Descent when she was having the scene with Data, where she was talking to him about his anger and his emotions?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
right. Like there were plenty. Like if she was really written as badly as we sometimes say, then we would hate the character. But we don't hate the character.
Yeah, I don't hate Deanna. I don't think she's the most competent person in the world, but
no,
okay. All right. On that episode where I can't remember where they crashed in the quantum filament or whatever it was, like she should never been in charge, even with her rank. Like it was just bad.
Yeah, but from a military angle, that's actually accurate.
It was accurate, and that could happen in a real life situation where somebody happens.
In a real life situation, that would happen.
Oh yeah, and then look at Sam just made the comment.
But generally, you wouldn't have that rank without that information.
That's a terrible episode.
That's not okay. I agree. That's a bad episode.
That's
but
a terrible episode.
In those, there's 179 episodes.
Oh, what about the episode where she was like assaulted by the other Betazoid or whatever that guy?
The Loss. That's Norman just said it. It's The Loss. That's the episode you're thinking about him.
Yeah.
Well,
that's where she loses her. That's where she loses all of her powers, basically.
Yeah, and then she can't cope.
Yeah, and she just can't handle it.
You know what? I'm getting upset about Troy. I don't like Troy.
All right,
Troy rant.
Let's keep moving. Anyway, there's Malcolm again, and at this point, Malcolm's now talking with, and this is the conversation that I was talking about, where basically Riker talks more about Archer than he does about anything else in this one, where he's talking to Malcolm. But the good news is it's only like 30 seconds and we're done. But they're basically making dough or something, some sort of pastry. And then it automatically switches directly over to Hoshi.
I hate Hoshi's haircut in this episode too.
You know what? Least of my problems in this episode. It really is. But anyway, so he's trying to get insight on the situation. I'm not totally sure why this is even relevant to his problem, though. Like,
it's not. None of it is. Nothing.
None of it is.
Nothing is relevant to the episode that they're cramming this into.
Yeah, like it's brutal. And then you have Mayweather, who gives a shit on a good day, and he's still talking, and I don't know why. Now I did like the Phlox part though, and the reason why I like the Phlox part is because how Phlox acted during the thing. Like he's playing with the dough while he's talking and stuff like that. It's just it was nice to see. But I also felt that Phlox was fairly useless in this episode too, unfortunately.
They all are. Everyone is.
Everybody pretty much is, yeah.
Everyone in this episode is fucking useless. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. There's nothing good.
Agreed.
You can be like the set design and stuff is good, but the story, the characters, the acting, it's all fucking bad.
Yeah. Norman does actually point out that one part with Malcolm, which was funny, where he's like, have you ever had any sexual thoughts about them? And then it goes right over to Hoshi. He doesn't even say it.
Wait, yeah, he was asking Hoshi if she had sexual thoughts about who?
No, it was Malcolm first.
I thought it was Trip. He was asking.
Yeah,
he was talking about Trip.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Hoshi, did you ever have the hots for Trip? And I was like, what is this coming from?
What the hell is that coming? Okay.
Which again, what does that have to do with the Pegasus?
Nothing.
situation?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Exactly. I did like this scene though. I thought that this was well done. I also liked the whole drinking scene. I thought that was good too. That was probably one of the only, in my opinion, fairly genuine scenes in the whole episode.
I don't even really remember it. I was
well, this is
checked out by this point.
This is a bottle of whiskey that was given to Archer's dad when him and Zephyr Cochrane broke ground at the Warp 5 facility.
Right.
So they're kind of toasting, but I like that they toasted to the next generation, which I thought was really cool. Nice little thing to say anyway. But you know, obviously meaning the next generation of the Enterprise, which Enterprise next.
I got it, but it was.
Yeah, I liked it. I know, Dave. I understand.
I got it, but Jesus Christ.
and this is the thing that bugs me, because this kind of leads up where you're like, Trip is a good guy, and the two of them are very close. Blah blah blah. And that's the other thing that bugs me. Him. Yeah, that's the other thing that bugs me. They kill Trip, and Archer barely reacts to it.
Exactly. He's a Captain Kirk right there. But I just lost my best friend.
At least have like a funeral, like have like the Spock funeral in Wrath of Khan or something like type thing, like give us like a eulogy.
Well, see,
this is a character we followed through 4 seasons, and yet they kill him off in 30 seconds, and then they don't say anything about him after.
But his whole death was weird. Like, let's get to that.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Why couldn't they kill Malcolm?
So anyway, the guys, why couldn't they kill Malcolm? That's good.
Why'd they have to kill anybody? It's the last fucking episode.
Yeah, like literally you went through the entire series with these characters, and then they kill one of them off at the end. Like, how stupid was that? But anyway, so they end up finding out that there's people coming on board, blah blah blah. And turns out they run right into them, because for some strange reason there's only one corridor, and they're always in that corridor.
How'd they get on the ship?
Who knows?
Who cares?
I don't think they explained it. But anyway, it happens to be the same guy
anymore.
He's figured out that the diamond.
We know they don't have security.
The diamond was a fake. Obviously,
how'd they get on the ship? The computer put them in there because they're all fucking holograms.
That's true. Yeah. And then here comes Trip in his. Oh.
It's a fake.
I don't know what happened there, but anyway. Yeah. So anyway, and then Trip's like, "Oh well, I'll be the valiant one. Take me.
Because the alien says he's kill the captain, and he's like, I'll say the one thing about that alien who says kill him. I almost believe that the aliens are going to kill Archer.
Yeah, that's true.
And that Trip has to do something.
It's pretty sad when these no-name aliens act better than most of the people.
Yeah, I looked it up. The guy who's the lead alien, he's from like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He's like the maitre d', the snooty maitre d' from that movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're the sausage king of Chicago.
He's more of a producer. He hardly ever acts. It's weird that they threw him into this, but
that's cool though. I knew I recognized the voice though, and I've seen that movie a billion times, so that makes sense. Yeah. But anyway, so he's like, Trip's like, "Oh, I'll take you there, no problem. But we, you know what? I got a better way to do this. Let's go over to this conduit, and I'll wire up something. We'll bypass security, and we'll get it going." Which you obviously know is horse shit. But God, these guys apparently don't. So he takes out one plug. He's like, "Yeah, no, I just got to take this plug. I got to put it into this one." He's like, "Okay." He has the guy take the panel down to make sure there's no weapons there. And then Trip's like, "Yeah, I just got to climb up here, and then I got to connect." And he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, fuck you," basically is what he says. And then it blows up,
motherfucker.
Yeah, and then it blows up.
I get it. I get that the explosion takes down these 3 guys, but wasn't there a guy left to guard Archer? And he's like, "If we're not back in 10 minutes, kill Archer." Isn't that what happened?
Yes.
So how did the explosion? Did the explosion took down that guy?
No.
Oh, so why didn't that guy kill
somewhere
Archer?
Different? Who knows what happened to that guy? Because Archer wakes up and that guy's gone.
Oh, jeez.
So I have no idea.
Such a bad episode. Yeah. Oh my god.
The inconsistencies are pretty good in this episode. But anyway, so Archer walks in, sees the aftermath, is like, "What the fuck is going on here?" And then he's like, "Oh shit!" And that's when you see, obviously Will is watching them, and he rushes him to sick bay. And at this point, Will's like, "Oh, he's in bad shape." Shit. But anyway, so they did pretty good job on the makeup on him too. He looks pretty brutal.
Was actually this scene was pretty good until.
Yep.
All right, so
I know what you're gonna say. The wink.
The freaking wink.
The wink. Yeah.
He was like dying, okay, and they put him in
and I don't even know if I got the wink, quite honestly, because it was
my-
him going into the thing. I hope I got it, but I might. There it is.
There,
No,
there
that's
it
part of
is.
it. Yeah, and he smiles and winks at him, and I don't get why. I guess it's to.
I think he was like, "I did it for you, Captain, because you
No,
are."
He was in
gonna get
no shape to be winking.
No.
He's winking at us. He's like, "This really sucks, right, guys? You know."
They
Oh,
killed
come
me.
on.
Can you believe they killed me off on the last episode?
He's not really dead. That's where I thought he's not really dead. You know, because even like anyway, whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, they put him into the.
Him
med
and
bay
Shran
thing.
are building a boat on a beach somewhere.
But here's the thing: like at this point, Archer pretty much knows he's dead. Like he's going to be dead. Like there is no because he looks at Phlox and Phlox is like, yeah, no,
he's
that
dying.
fucking guy is not coming out of there.
Yeah, we're not gonna grow him a clone
so you
this
know.
time.
Yeah, this time he's not getting healed. I don't have enough eels to deal with this.
Enough
And then
clones.
it instantly goes directly over to this scene where T'Pol's packing up his shit
And sniffing
Yeah.
his clothes.
and sniffing clothes. Yeah.
Okay, again, this was just like sniffing his drawers and like
And
I
Archer
don't know,
comes in, but he still doesn't look that sad.
they talk about Trip's parents, who we don't even get to see, but like I'm like they've lost both kids now. Like they had
They
a
lost
son
all
and
their
a-
kids. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like he's like, well, they're a bit eccentric. I'm like you'll see where they get their
And
sense
then
of
she's
humor.
like, yeah, my mom's eccentric too. And it's like, no, your mom was a terrorist technically, but
And your mom's
Whatever.
dead too. You know,
she's
so-
also dead. So it
He-
doesn't matter.
he's like, yeah, I remember her. Yeah,
Yeah. And T'Pol's like, oh, and Archer's like, yeah, you should take this cool Frankenstein statue. And she's like, yeah, okay, action figure. And then you see Riker's in the background there as well. I did like how they did angles with him. I
but
thought
this
that was-
doesn't do anything for his moral quandary.
not at all. So anyway, and then he's like, oh, you know, he was good. And then we get a shot, and this actually happens before. So this happens before he talks to everybody else, because he says during this conversation, no, I haven't talked to the other crew members yet.
Right. This was what is earlier when the chef was talking to
So
everybody
this is
else.
supposed to be like Trip's send off, I guess, essentially.
Yeah, and
Uh,
Connor
yeah,
Trenier is very endearing in the scene.
He is,
I'll,
yeah.
I'll say
He is.
that is a nice thing about it, you know, because it's his like swan song, I guess. But I think, you know, maybe a eulogy from
and this
Archer would-
this is supposed to be what turned Will the way he did to tell Picard, which doesn't make any sense, because then why did he watch the rest of the shit?
right. Like if you watch the
Because
Pegasus,
this happened before the other stuff did.
If you watch the Pegasus, the episode, Picard
Unless he
tells
went
us-
back in the hologram thing.
tells
maybe.
the story to Pressman about how he was the first officer on the hood, and he stood up to the captain because he thought he was right, not just about following the chain of command and da 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 da.
Yeah.
So Riker already has that in him. That's already part of Riker's personality. This, I don't think, makes any sense in terms of him
No.
like having like a
But he can go back and forth in the hologram. So I
epiphany.
guess it makes
Oh.
sense that he could have watched this at the end, I guess. But why didn't he just watch this in order? Like, why would he do that? That doesn't make any sense. But anyway. So then we get obviously the shot of the new building, I guess, or whatever. Well, I guess
And
it's
we've
like-
seen this, by the way, from when Daniels took him there. You know,
Yes, he saw the exact same thing. Yeah.
right.
Which was kind of a that was at the beginning of this season, or was it last season?
No, it was being
Yeah,
Or last-
Beginning of the season?
I think it was the end of last season.
End of last season. Okay. And then we see they're in the gallery. They're talking about how are these VIP seats? I can't actually see anybody.
complaining about their seats. Yeah.
Yeah, they're complaining about the seats. And we see Deanna in the background there.
You mentioned that Archer might get promoted to admiral soon.
And we see all these people who have never once been on the show, but yet we
Probably all the production people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah. Good way to send them off,
Oh,
I guess.
Here's my next thing. Next
here
thing.
we go. Here we
Uniform.
go. I
This-
knew once the uniform was coming
This
up.
dress uniform is hideous.
Yeah.
Okay, like why would you model your dress uniform after the jumpsuit? But we know that they wear ties and shirts in this time period. The admirals do, and whatever. I know you're not a big fan of that, Adam, but this dress uniform is the ugliest looking thing I've ever seen. Like it doesn't like the normal jumpsuit has like zippers and like sort of like a waistband thing and whatever. This doesn't even have that. It just looks like this. I don't even know how he got in it. Like I don't even like. It must have a flap in the butt where you go in through or something. It's
I'm
like,
sorry, Dave. It's not great. but it's better than the TNG dress uniforms. Okay,
100%.
No,
Oh,
100%.
no,
yes,
no bloody way.
absolutely,
100%.
How so?
absolutely. Those are awful.
They are
All of-
hideous.
Why?
The dress.
The dress
uniforms.
With the
Okay,
fold
there was
over.
the original, the first version was too long. I'll give you that. But the second, like they pulled it back in the subsequent versions. Like if you watch them on on Voyager, it looks fine. I think. And
I don't think this is so bad. It's not great.
it's bad.
It's uninspired.
It's about why the ranks are on both sides for some reason.
I'm not
Like,
sure why he
that's-
would wear a
yeah.
jumpsuit to a
But
formal
and
event.
this one doesn't have epaulets, but I don't get it. Like, and it's a bad dress uniform.
Well, you would never wear a beret with a dress uniform.
Why
Dave.
do they
So you
wear
don't
these
need
berets? No, I saw no one with berets on. Like,
and you're not going to wear your NX01 baseball hat.
Why
with your
isn't
sunglasses.
Why isn't everyone wearing a dress uniform? Isn't this a formal occasion, not just for Archer, but for everybody?
Well, they're
Maybe
just in
this
the
isn't a
gallery.
dress uniform. Maybe this is his choice. Maybe he's like, I want to look real snappy for my speech.
That is.
So this is
look
how
at
I'm
that
gonna
collar.
dress.
Look at it's just bad.
Why are the pips
The
on
man
both
does
sides?
love water polo, so we know he makes questionable
But why
decisions.
are the pips on both sides?
I don't know.
That's stupid.
You know,
Because he's a double captain now.
Ugh.
He's a captain in the mirror universe.
And again,
as well.
Trip just died. It doesn't even seem to be weighing on them much.
No
No.
mention of it at all, really.
They've moved on pretty quick.
Yeah, very quick actually. And then we find out that Phlox is kind of taken off, I guess, technically. So he basically says something along that lines, but not exactly. But
I'm getting
He's
a
gonna
new
go.
job.
He's gonna go to his 3 wives. That's what he
I
said.
gotta go. I
he's
gotta
going-
go.
yeah, he's
check
gonna
my
go
three
check
wives.
on his 3 wives. Yeah,
And that's the end of Phlox.
that's pretty much Phlox. Phlox is gone. And then he's like, T'Pol's like, he's like, oh well, you better go find your seat, kind of thing, blah blah blah. And she's like, I'm just gonna stay here. And he's like, you never did like crowds. I've never heard that before in the entire series. Did anybody else catch that one? Because I didn't.
Well, we know he likes to talk and walk.
Yeah.
No, but she says he says that she doesn't like crowds.
Oh, she's yeah.
I'm like, when did that get established? I've never heard that before. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. What was the point of having her not go out and listen to his speech?
exactly. Yeah. So anyway, but then he comes back and he gives her a hug, which I thought was nice, I guess, but
Whatever. Fine.
yeah, whatever.
Doesn't save an episode, that's for
Does
sure.
not save an episode at all. And then he starts walking out to his thing. We see the walkout and obviously a lot
The
of
crowd
CG.
looks so bad. It looks so like.
Oh yeah.
um,
Yeah, well.
Oh yeah. That looks worse than the crowd for marble racing.
Yeah.
It looks less human like.
And then we see Riker joins Deanna. And then just as he's about to start his speech, basically, she's like, okay, end program.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay. And they
What the
literally
hell?
walk off. Yeah.
The whole episode, they're trying to get back to do this fucking speech. Don't you think his speech would have been a nice ending to the show?
Maybe. Yeah.
What the fuck are they thinking?
Exactly. Then we get this nice little voiceover where they use Patrick Stewart. They use, obviously, William Shatner. And, of course,
I don't hate this.
I don't like it.
But
I didn't mind it.
I didn't like
The
that.
whole space, the Final Frontier thing.
No, I liked all that, and I don't mind
Oh,
seeing all the ships. But this is 2005, right? Yes, 2005.
Yep.
And again, where no man has gone before. That's how they ended this. This is 2005, guys.
but
I know why, Dave. I know it's the continuity of because this is before Shatner.
yeah.
But let's take a step forward. That's all I'm saying. Because we just commented on the whole thing about
We don't need your woke agenda.
But man just means human, right?
Yes,
Yeah, man just means human, though.
we were beyond that in 2005. That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, but I think for continuity, it makes more
They
sense. to
they
be
did
the
change
way
it in
is.
the 80s. So.
Anyway, that's where we're at, gentlemen. That's it.
Why don't we hear Archer's speech? That is the most egregious out of everything in this episode. They talk about his speech through the whole fucking thing, and then we don't hear it. We don't. He doesn't make a speech at the end of the finale.
Kevin, all they would have done is him walking around the stage and not facing the audience.
Yeah.
Sure, of course. But I mean, that would have been a nice send off for the show because that's what the show was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway.
All right. Do
right.
we have
Well,
any
give
fun
us-
facts?
Fun facts.
There's not. I'm not going to give you too many because you got. Like I started this day before you came on, and I had to reboot all that. I said, you know what? I don't really hate this episode, but now you know what? I can't stand it. You guys have completely like. Oh man.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. Okay, so I'll start off
I
here.
do, Sam. I do.
What do you say?
Oh, I said I needed to smoke some weed.
All right.
Well, it can't hurt.
So, let's just start with something actually kind of fun. Where'd it go now?
Might as well have something fun about this episode.
I got a fun fact. Can I while you look for that, Adam?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Here's one. So in Star Trek Picard, spoilers for Star Trek Picard season 3. When they go to the Fleet Museum that Jody runs, we see the NX-01, but it has the retrofitted secondary hull underneath. Jody, I think you know what I'm talking about, right? Like that looks more like the 1701 style, like the Constitution class, and so that brings the canon of this episode into question because clearly we see the Enterprise without that secondary hull added.
Well, the NX-01 does get a refit after this, though.
But we know that the ship's going to get decommissioned, so it
But
should
it
already
doesn't get decommissioned.
It does. They say the ship is getting decommissioned.
Well, in the show, it does. Yeah,
So it should, if they were going to do the refit, they should have already happened to the ship.
it should have. Yes. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Okay, so Jody, the Enterprise D has all 3 of its impulse engines illuminated at all times. In the next gen, it normally only had 1 impulse engine on the star drive section illuminated. Maybe that's what is different.
Maybe.
Actually, no. Remember how I commented that in Star Trek Picard, how those 2 impulse engines on the saucer weren't lit up, and I was upset about it.
Yes, I do remember that actually.
Yeah. So
I don't know why I remember that, but I do remember it.
and
Well,
then you guys just looked at me like, "Come on, let it go." dude."
Like, let it go, Dave.
okay, at the 50th anniversary Star Trek convention in Las Vegas in 2016, fans voted this the worst episode of any Star Trek franchise.
So Dave would definitely fit that one really well.
I think I might do them one better. I think this might be the worst episode of television ever.
I don't know. The bike store one from Different Strokes is pretty bad.
Here, I got one here. So Brandon Braga said at the 2014 Vegas Con, the final episode of Enterprise was an idiotic move on my part. I thought it would be cool to do a Valentine to all of Star Trek. To me, there was something really postmodern about the idea of saying that this was an episode of Next Generation you have never seen, where they go to the holodeck with their heroes aboard the Enterprise. It sounded good in my head. What ended up airing was really bad and not successful completely. It should have been Enterprise's finale. It was a misstep. Having added the Enterprise actors, they hated it. It was the only time Scott Bakula got pissed off at me.
Well, you know when Bakula's getting pissed off, you know you really got a problem. Wow, I'm like bleeding. Anyway.
Brandon Braga subsequently admitted, is this what you say about him? Was that who you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Sorry.
Oh, is that the same fact? Is it the same?
Yeah. In response to fan criticism, series producer Manny Koto said he personally considered this to be a coda rather than the true finale of the episode because he and fellow series producer Mike Sussman considered the 2-parter Demons and Terra Prime to precede the actual end of story.
Well, I don't disagree because, again, these are holograms with a historic reenactment that may not be completely accurate anyway.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
but guess who did love it, guys? Dominic Keating. He loved the episode. He said
that explains it right away. Then,
yeah, I thought that the device that they used in order to include them was a bit clunky, but once you've gone past that, it was fine. And fair dues to Brandon and Rick, they were winding up 17 years on their take on the series. It just wasn't our 4 years. They'd done a lot more stuff prior to us, so it was fair enough.
Basically, what he said there was, once you get past how stupid this episode is, it's not that bad.
Right. Yeah. John Billingsley said, I wasn't wild about the last episode, but as is often the case, I think probably more is made of these things than it should be. It is arguably should have been more about our stories than the Next Generation's cast. I think people who were a little put out perhaps had a point. It seemed to me from things that I've read or heard of the people's reactions were a little over the top, but I also think that we're on some level trying to find a way to say goodbye, or at least a goodbye for now, to the entire franchise. And to that extent, I could understand what the thought process was, wanting to bring the next gen into this.
When did Voyager end?
Voyager ended in 2001, so about 4 years.
Yeah, so this would have been the last.
Jolene Blaylock said in 2005 that she doesn't know where to begin with this episode. The final episode is appalling. LeVar Burton and Marina Sirtis said they were interviewed. The latter personally thought it was a good episode, but I just didn't think it was a good last episode. The other thing that struck me here was that, like, LeVar Burton directed the Pegasus, the episode The Pegasus. Why wouldn't you get LeVar Burton direct this?
Yeah.
Maybe he said
Right?
no. He said,
He said this sucks.
I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing you have to like, and that brings up a very good question. Sorry, I'm still bleeding apparently. If this was not a final episode, would we have felt so badly about it?
Perhaps
No.
not.
But
Yeah.
it's still not good.
Oh,
I
no,
still
terrible.
wouldn't think it was good, but it wouldn't be as egregious as it is. Like that really is what makes me angry about it, is that it's the finale. Like, just do something nice. Do the finale you've done for other shows. Like, fucking, you want to bring Shran in? Have him congratulate fucking Archer on his speech after and talk about how this is a new dawn for their species.
Yeah,
or
make-
something,
Mhm.
right?
Make Archer an admiral. Like, send him off that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Maybe don't kill Trip. Just a thought.
Dave, did you read about Connor Trinneer reveals he was pleased that the character got a complete arc by his dying in the end?
No, I didn't read that part, but
Yeah.
well, at least he gets a lot of screen time in the episode, so how can you blame him? But
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does.
So we'll leave that at the last fun facts of this whole. You know what? I as I read the scene about, or what you read about Brennan Braga, I seem to remember reading many episodes where Brennan Braga was disappointed with how that story went, and maybe it shouldn't have gone that way.
yeah, and the other thing too is
You
like Ronald D. Moore is one of my favorite Star Trek writers ever. He wrote the Pegasus. Brandon Braga, who like those two collaborated on stuff, but it's like he's like co-opting Ronald D. Moore's story and made it worse. It's just like, you're such a hack, Braga. All right. Here we go. Sub Rosa is the so bad it's good fun watch. These Are the
No,
Voyages is
it's
not
not.
fun to watch. I love Sub
it's
Rosa.
great. I love it too.
Do not light that candle. All right, let's get into
And do
it.
not go in that house.
All
Bloody
right,
brutal.
ratings, guys. Let's rate this abomination. All right, here we go. Jody, who's been saying it's not so bad. What is not?
No,
so bad?
it's definitely worse than I thought. Come back to me. I haven't decided yet.
Adam.
I'm still
Give
bleeding.
us a benchmark. Come on, start us off here.
The only thing, because I don't like Troy in this episode, is like you have to have Riker, you have to Troy, but I will say I did like him. I always like seeing Riker, so I'm giving this a 4.
Okay. All right, 4 is on the board. I'm starting 0. All right, Kevin.
Starting with this.
Zero. It's fucking bad. It's not even an episode of this show.
Yeah. And Jody.
I can't even give it what Adam's given it. Like it 2.
Okay, you don't have to give it. I'm trying to be a little positive on the way out.
Now remember, you gave the Romulan minefield episode A
The
3.6.
Minefield episode was better than this episode.
You gave that a 3.6. Okay, and Adam
So I'm
gave
pretty
that
consistent
episode a
with it.
0.
Oh, it's still my least favorite episode.
So you would rather watch
Oh.
this than Minefield?
Yes, I can't.
Okay.
That's
All right.
yeah, and that's a whole
If we're
different
doing
argument, and I'll tell you why next week.
Okay.
All right.
if we're doing least or the worst episodes and the best episodes, can we maybe just not talk about this episode and pick another one for worst?
Yeah, so this one's exempt.
This one's like an
This
outlier.
one's exempt. And let's not tell everybody what we're going to be talking about. So Dave will compile it and let us know.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out. Okay, so we're averaging a 1.5 and on the episode, IMDb gives this a 5.3, which is by far the lowest rating I think.
I can't believe that it's that high on IMDb. That's incredible.
Well, normally IMDb is a little bit like you rarely see a really low number on IMDb. Like anything like it has.
What
to
was
be
the Minefield episode on IMDb?
Minefield on IMDb was, where is that?
I like how we always go back
Probably
to
in the
Minefield episode.
7s, I would think.
Really?
It was 7.4 on IMDb.
Yeah.
Wow. Just goes to show you the internet doesn't know what the
There
fuck
is
it's
not
talking
there is
about.
not one episode of this series on IMDb that's rated below 6, except for this one.
Except for
This episode.
Wow.
Okay, so this is how how poorly received it is. Where if you combine our average and IMDb, it's averaging a 3.4. I think we found our new champion of crap here, and it was just like it doesn't even take place in the same year as the rest of the shows. Everything was in 2154 except for this is 2070, because it's 200 years later, 220 something years later. Anyway, okay, well guys, we're also at the end of season 4.
Before you go on, I have. You're right. I got to take it down below Minefield. So let's go to 3.
Going to 3. Okay.
He's
So-
rescinded.
So we're down to a 1.3 average. So this is of course our lowest episode of season 4 and overall. But in terms of our average for season 4, we collectively we averaged a 7. So this was tied with season 1 at 7. Season 3 was our favorite at 7.6, and season 2 at 7.3. But we'll talk more about that next week. But yeah, so
All right, so we're gonna do one more episode. So next Monday, join us. We're going to be doing our top and our low, and then from there we'll just quickly discuss them all. Just a brief.
So we're going to we're going to the top 5 rated and the top 5 lowest rated.
Yeah, with the exception of this episode.
With the exception of this episode. Okay.
So we have to take the top shittiest, the top 5 worst episodes other than this episode.
Although we may not be done ranting about this episode in between the other episodes.
Yeah,
It's
maybe we
very
can invite. Maybe we can invite like Gavin and
Everybody
Jaemeel.
can come.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
'Cause
I
they
would
were-
love to know what Davin has to say about that episode.
Yeah.
Oh, probably a 10.
Yeah.
10.
10.
No, I don't even think Davin.
I don't think
could
he
give
likes
this
it
a 10.
either. I doubt he likes it.
I'm willing to bet Davin would give it a 0.
But he surprises me often, so we'll see.
He is known for surprising, that's for sure.
So we can close the book on These Are the Voyages.
But Dave, just because this series is ending doesn't mean we don't have other things that you could definitely enjoy here on Live Long and Podcast.
Yes, of course. Well, as we mentioned, we'll have our like a little prologue for this series. So the second one, guys, we've wrapped up here. We of course did the original series, Jody and Adam and I and my dad back in the day. Kevin was in a few of those ones too. But we're coming back with our Deep Space Nine. We've done already 6 seasons of Deep Space Nine, and we have 1 season left, the 7th season. So that the plan is we're going to kick that up on Monday nights in 2 weeks. I guess we'll start back with the first episode of season 7. I have to look. I can't remember what the name of it is, but we'll be coming back for that with the crew.
Yeah, I can't
We'll just
remember the
look
name
it
of it.
up.
I
Well,
don't remember either.
7 Deep Space Nine.
So just so you know, I'm not going to join every single one of the DS9s, but I'll try to join. as
That's
many.
okay. Like the idea is like we'll have a lot of people, and I'm sure Jaemeel will come back into the mix, and maybe even Jeff. We'll see. It's called Image in the Sand. Is the first
Yes, okay, yeah.
of season 7.
Oh,
Deep Space Nine.
yeah.
Are we going to do Monday nights? Because Monday nights are good.
I'm hoping we'll
Yeah.
keep it on Monday. Yeah, so it's going to be Deep Space Nine on Monday.
Oh shit! I got to put up with Esri. I just forgot about that.
Yeah, got a whole season of Esri coming.
Oh fuck, she drives me mental.
So maybe for the Esri focused episodes, you can skip out. And there are a lot of them.
That's a lot of them.
Yeah.
So I'll be here for 3 episodes.
So look out for that in the near future. And then we're almost done Star Trek Lower Decks season 4. We got the finale this Thursday. I don't think the title's out yet, but we'll be on at 8:00 to talk about the finale with that one. It's been a good season so far. It's been interesting.
Not bad.
So yeah,
I don't know if it's the finale already. This 10 episodes, 20-minute. It's not enough.
It's so fast, you know.
Yeah,
it flies. I'm sure if you're binging it, it's just like
same thing with Strange New Worlds, right? And then on top of that, they wasted 2 episodes.
But I do miss the days of 22 episode seasons like this, you know, like I really do.
22, 26, yeah.
Sure, there was more boring downtimes, but it made it.
And there was also some shittier episodes, but you got a lot of good stuff too. Like
it just felt more real. It felt more like a lived-in place because like it's sometimes life's boring. Sometimes things aren't always like, you know, you have like that's what makes the exciting moments really exciting. Sometimes, you know, whereas now we try to condense everything.
We don't know if we're doing TNG first.
I think that is the plan after Deep Space Nine.
It was either that Voyager as well.
It was either that or Voyager, but I think I'd rather do Next Generation. I don't think I want to like.
I won't be on all the next gens either, but I'll.
No, we're gonna do rotating panel, and we'll figure that out. So, so lots coming up. Davin is running the science division. He's got all like the trivias and the debates and the probes and the treckle trunks and those things, along with the locutors.
He likes to probe things.
He likes to probe things in all kinds of places. So I think they're doing more comic book reviews tomorrow. I think Michael Chan and Jessica Chan going on to talk to Davin about some Halloween themed Star Trek comics. No. We're not doing 2 episodes a week. When I tried to do both Deep Space Nine and Enterprise every week, it was a lot.
It's hard.
So, it was a lot. Yeah.
And I think that's it on the Live Long and podcast front. Check out our network, the Federation of Podcasts. You can check out our website, ufpodcast.com. Channels like X-Rated, where they talk about X-Men. We got what else we got? We got Eamon on Track, talk about music. The Hellbound podcast, talking horror. The Hold Up podcast, talking movies. And the Super Mater Brothers podcast, talking a lot, mostly reality TV shows, but also we have the Mary Mater Marvel Society over there, talking about Marvel, MCU installments and graphic histories with Andre Mayette. So some great partner affiliate podcasts. And thanks for being with us, guys. Thanks to Sam and Norman and a lot of the live chatters,
all the regulars,
all the regulars and people who leave comments on the videos after the fact. We hope that you discover this series in the future, and that you'll listen to our takes as we go along, you know. So, and
of course, the freshest take we're going to have is whether Kevin enjoyed the series or not, but that's going to come next week.
That's the only reason we did it. It's the only reason we did
it. We did it for Kevin, so we want to know what his thoughts are.
So. Kevin technically disliked it. Davin's averaging a 7.0, and Kevin is averaging a 7.1. But we're all kind of close. We're averaging like 7.3. I like it the most. I'm at 7.4. No one likes Enterprise more than Dave.
Really?
So
Dave wins again.
Yeah, even though I throw a 0 on an episode tonight. So,
I wonder what it would have been if you rated that one higher.
Man, probably not much. After this many episodes, it's probably...
well, it's like 26 episodes a season. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of numbers.
I think.
So check out all that stuff. Thanks Jody and Adam for hosting this show. I know we have one more to go, but this is kind of the end. It's been
it's been fun.
Been a long road
getting from there to here.
Actually, it seemed quite short.
It did.
Actually, it kind of did, didn't it?
It went by really quick.
Well, and it's funny because I was looking up the first episode that we did because I wanted to get the date of the first episode we did, which was December, I think 6th or 7th of 2001. And I'm like, it's only been 2 years. I'm like, wow. Yeah. And then I thought to myself, shit, it's been 2 years. Like, it doesn't seem like it's been that long.
What do you say, Kevin? You want to host TNG?
No, I think
Kevin definitely should host TNG.
If you
want. Time for somebody other than me and Dave.
All right. Guys, any requests on quote? I didn't pull anything from this episode to play us out. How about the eulogy that he should have given that he actually ended up giving to Sim many episodes ago?
Sure.
Because Trip
Oh
is
my
dead.
God! Right, I forgot about that. That makes it even
The most
worse.
difficult test facing any captain, any crew, is the loss of a shipmate. We've come here to honor one of our own. In the time we knew him, he showed us just how much one life can truly matter. We will never forget what he did for us and for the ship he loved so much. We will go forward with renewed determination to complete this mission so that his sacrifice won't just have been for the people on this ship, but for all the citizens of Earth.
Thanks, everyone.